Welcome back to There Will Be Expletives. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
Ron, I have good news and bad news.
Okay.
We have an official There Will Be Expletives Monopoly. Are you excited?
I am.
That's the good news.
Okay.
The bad news, there was no Jeff figure, so no one bought it. They
God
had
damn
you,
it.
and they had Shep. Star of the show is missing.
Oh, it's adorable you think you're the star of the show.
It's adorable you think I'm not the star of the show. All right, thanks, guys, for tuning into this week's edition. We are on episode 42, Ron.
Holy shit.
Good Lord. We still haven't learned that people don't want to listen to us talk.
We're stubborn that way.
Yeah, of course. So
We will talk to you until you like us.
I don't know about Ron. I'm tired as balls today, so we are going to do full-on lightning round.
I'm pretty pumped after this Dark Souls vids we just recorded.
There's some good stuff.
I had 2 boss fights in one video.
High five. Good job. You had it kind of worked out perfectly because you had the 2 legit fights and I had the 2 bullshit fights that you have to know what to do to beat them. So it worked out.
That was probably a good thing since I had no idea what I was doing in the 2 legit fights.
If you don't know the trick to Bed of Chaos, you can sit there for like an hour and a half to figure out what to do. This is stupid. But yeah, we're going to get back into this week's news, starting off as always with the movie news. And as I was talking about earlier, I referenced the whole Star Wars Monopoly debacle. And Hasbro has officially gone into panic mode. I don't know. Have you looked up any of this at all?
Not since the initial story broke.
So, the whole Monopoly thing was happening. Obviously, that was the biggest story. Also, their action figure line was...
I knew about the action figure line because JJ had some statements to say about that.
Yeah, JJ... probably
he thought, what was it he said? Disgusting? Is that what he said?
Something like that. Or disgraceful.
Disgraceful. He had some D word.
Hasbro's a bunch of dicks. Misogynist dicks. So, they kicked it into high gear, and now not only is Rey in the new Monopoly version, which is slated to come out within the next month, I think all this stuff is within the next couple of weeks to a month, we have Rey action figures galore, and not just the Monopoly stuff, like with the tokens, but just across the line. Is it okay to talk about Force Awakens spoilers?
I'm thinking
we're getting it's been a month and it's Star Wars.
We're about 3-4 weeks now.
If you haven't seen Force Awakens, you are a crazy person. First of all, even if you don't even like Star Wars, everyone watches Star Wars.
Yeah.
But if you haven't, skip ahead 2 minutes. I'm gonna go into pretty big spoilers. So you've been warned. Starting now. One of the toys was Rey with her lightsaber. That was one of the first ones they've announced. Which I get them not having that one.
Yeah.
But when it got egregious was they easily could have released toys with her, with like her baton thing, her staff. Yeah. Like that's, and then, as they do with the Star Wars toys, 2 months later, release her with a lightsaber, sell 1 billion more. Like, they have no excuse.
Yeah, I know, and stuff like that also, they could easily have manufactured and stockpiled and then released after the movie also.
Yeah, so within the next month...
They have no excuses.
Oh, they also released... you remember in the movie, she gets the little funky-looking blaster from Han Solo?
Yeah.
That's an official, Nerf gun now. That could have been released without being a spoiler. She has a blaster.
Oh, what?
That was one... they had one... The one where she has her lightsaber was really cool, because she was wearing... It looked like...
It's not her lightsaber, it's Anakin's.
Yeah, touche.
I know more about Star Wars than Jeff.
Once you can name all of the random faceless aliens in Jabba's palace like I can, then you know more than me. Towards the very, very end of the movie, or the last 5 minutes, you see her wearing a new outfit that she's wearing when they have the final scene happen.
Yeah.
It looked like that was the costume she had, and I always liked that. It looked like that's going to be her costume for the next movie. I thought it was a really cool looking... Yeah. It reminded me kind of like what they all wore in Cloud City. You remember when they... Yeah, they had that weird kind of fashion design going. But seriously, Hasbro clearly realized their mistake, because they're going to be hitting Rey shit all over the shelves for the next few weeks.
Did they even see the movie when they made all these decisions?
It's weird, and one of the weirdest ones was they had like, I think it was the one where it's kind of like oversized action figures, kind of more old school looking, where they were like 10 inches tall, I think, and they look kind of like more like half dolls and not as opposable.
Like the old G.I. Joes and stuff.
They had one set, which I think the ones they included were Kylo Ren, Finn, Phasma, and then they had like 2 faceless stormtroopers. That easily could have been Rey without being a spoiler. It didn't sound like they had to have her with the lightsaber. They could have had her with her staff thing.
Yeah.
Which you like, I don't know. This whole thing is bizarre. Because like, I mean, we are in the dawn of, like, how long has Finbusters been a thing for? Like, they should have been aware that this would have been a debacle, what it ended up being.
And she's probably easily one of the most likable characters in it, if not the most likable character.
She is my favorite of the new characters, easily. And I think it's very cool that now, for once, in Star Wars, the protagonist is the coolest new character. That's like, I mean, fucking more people like Boba Fett than Luke. Boba Fett has 4 lines, doesn't do anything.
He gets eaten by Meg.
yeah, that's true. We have some more Star Wars news to get to, and I thought this one was kind of interesting. So we reported a few weeks ago, I always get their names mixed up. I think it's Chris Lord and Phil Miller, the 2 Lego Movie dudes that are making...
No, I think it's Chris Miller and Phil Lord.
Yeah,
I really think it is. I'm not messing with you.
Oh, I believe you. It's late. I have trouble remembering their names even when I am fully awake, so whatever. Those Lego Movie dudes, how about that? They are directing the Han Solo solo film, if you will. I pull a Ron. I don't give a fuck. What was the ridiculous number of... It was like 2,500 actors or something like that. They auditioned some ridiculous number. And
Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Okay. See, I already forgot what I said, but I probably got it wrong.
I think you had it backwards.
Lego Movie Bros.
The Leg Bros.
So we reported mostly on all of the awful names that popped up because those were the most fun for the news sites to run with. Like Miles Teller, really, guys. I don't hate Miles Teller. Dude has the charisma of fucking Plank from Ed, Edd n Eddy. Like,
pretty much. I
don't understand. And like, he's fine for his own roles, but Han Solo is Han Solo. Well, I can rant about that on a whole other episode. But the one name that I saw on all these finalists, quote unquote finalists, was Logan Lerman, who we were actually kind of pushing for Spider-Man. I thought he would have been a good Peter Parker.
Yeah, I thought so too.
He is most famously probably known as Percy Jackson.
Fantastic in Fury.
And I was just about to say, in Fury, one of our favorite movies of the past few years. Damn good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Logan Lerman seems to be one of the up-and-comers. Hasn't really hit big yet. It's just a matter of time. Percy Being a Wallflower, that was the other one.
Yeah.
People like him in. Great actor. I think he has a lot of likability to him. And this was the one name of the known actors where I was like, I'm okay with that because they can do a whole lot worse than Logan Lerman.
Oh yeah, and I still will be shocked if they go with someone that is known even remotely. I still think they're going to go unknown because there's no way that no one is going to tear the person apart or not see past that particular actor or something. There's just no way. And they already showed it with Daisy Ridley is a complete unknown. Yeah,
and Adam Driver, who's Kylo Ren, and John Boyega are each known in kind of like movie and TV show buff scenario, like circles.
But they've shown that they have casting ability, so I imagine they'd go unknown.
I think it's going to be a total unknown, and I have pretty much liked almost everything those 2 Lego Movie dudes have done.
Yeah.
So I trust them to pick even look at the Lego Movie, like all their they picked Will Arnett as Batman, like stuff like that.
Who would have guessed? And he's one of our favorite Batman.
Yeah. I trust these dudes. I think they're gonna crush it. Pulling for Logan Lerman if it is a known. If I had to pick, I agree with Ron. I think it should be an unknown. All right, that is a wrap for the Star Wars news. So one of my favorite properties is Star Wars. One of Ron's is Transformers. I'm going to let you take this one away.
So one of my biggest parts of my childhood that's been butchered in the past is Transformers. It's been butchered now 4 times. And all of that can finally be put aside, Jeff. All that emotion put to rest. Because they're going to save the franchise. They have decided to bring back Michael Bay.
What?
And there was much rejoicing.
Yeah, so we're still fucked. All the kidding aside.
Let me get this right.
Yes.
Fucker. And okay, to preface this argument, I really like Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2. I like The Island and I like The Rock. Basically, everything else he's done, he can go fuck himself, in my opinion.
Pretty much.
I think he, at the moment, is a complete hack.
Yeah. Pretty much. Him and James Cameron have both lost their ever-loving minds.
It's baffling. What's also frustrating is, if I'm not mistaken, he has said Transformers 3 was supposed to be his last one. Transformers 4 was supposed to be his last one, and now he's saying, no, 5 is going to be my last one. Who fucking knows?
Did he direct 4, though?
Yeah.
He did? I thought he just produced.
Pretty sure he directed the Marky Mark one, too. We'll have to fact check that one.
That's the other person that's coming back also, is Marky Mark.
What? No.
He couldn't resist.
I freaking like Mark Wahlberg, too. What the fuck are we supposed to do in a Michael Bay?
You seen Four Brothers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Departed? He's damn good in The Departed, too.
I didn't even know he was in that. I thought that was DiCaprio.
Yeah. He's in it, too. Wahlberg, I think it's like the FBI agent.
Touche, good sir.
Well, he did direct it for.
He did direct for.
Of course, it was a shitty movie, Ron. Of course he did.
Well, whether he did or not, it was going to be shitty.
So he's been teasing us with him leaving for fucking 3 movies now, and he's still attached to it. People clearly dislike him, and he doesn't give a shit. The last one made money, but it was a noticeable drop-off in the box office.
Yeah.
Keyword, get rid of the dude. And then they bring in and give us more hope with the Brain Trust thing with like Robert Kirkman and a few other people. Like I think the Iron Man writers were involved.
Yeah, I think so too. No, they had some pretty impressive people involved in the Brain Trust, and they're going to try to turn it into a universe, which, as much as I love Transformers, I don't see a whole lot of hope for a workable MCU-style universe. But, I mean, they're all giant robots that transform into things. It's not like the MCU where you have all these different characters and different ideas
and the most noticeable thing, genres. You can do different genres within Marvel. You can only do giant robots punching each other in the face, and that's the genre.
It's
cool genre.
Yes,
we can't do a universe off of one genre. So all of that just. Like, I was actually kind of looking forward to this after hearing about some of those names.
Yeah.
But, like, it is, like, they could turn in the best script imaginable. Michael Bay will fuck it up because when he makes a movie, he thinks he's now, like, a god. And you can tell by the way he talks in interviews and shit. Like, he thinks he's hot shit.
Oh, yeah.
That new movie, the true story, 13 Hours.
13 Hours, yeah.
Like, he still throws his name up in his trailers as if that's a selling point.
Yeah.
It's just like M. Night.
I told you when we first saw that trailer, if Michael Bay's anywhere near that film, there's nothing true about the story you're about to see. Like, it's just...
Yeah, it's just a bummer. So, pretty much our only hope is this one tanks in the box office, at least to the extent a Transformers film can, so that this is the last one. I want
whoever the fuck was involved with writing and overseeing Transformers Devastation to... like, get with Del Toro and do a reboot when this thing goes
Del
down.
Toro Transformer film is the equivalent of, like, Whedon doing Avengers, dude.
Pretty much.
Like, match made in heaven. It would be fun. He would actually give a shit about the source material, which Michael Bay could not care less. I guarantee you to this day, and I think I said this before, I doubt he has even, to this point, 5 films later, going into one, even bothered to look at their Wikipedia pages.
Yeah.
Like, he could not care less.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And also...
And it's the Transformers Devastation people, whatever team was in charge of story and, like, anything to do with the character direction and the voice acting, all those people fucking nailed Transformers, dude. It was... G1, you were literally in control of the cartoon as far as the design goes. The characters were spot on. At the end of the game, I teared up because of a fucking speech Optimus gives. I mean, it's just it was amazing. And then I have on the other end, I have Michael Bay just tearing it to shreds.
It'd be one thing if these movies were dumb fun, and yeah, they butchered everything, but you could put it on mute and still watch the action. Michael Bay can't direct action that well.
No, he can't.
Michael Bay,
it's just a blur of colors for 2 hours.
With the way he's done the transfer, like the dude can direct a pretty cool like car chase. But what he's done with the Transformers, I can't tell who's a good guy and who's a bad guy 3/4 of the time.
Well, they're all fucking evil. Like, okay, you mean to tell me Optimus Prime's in a fucking Clint Eastwood someone between the eyes like he did at the beginning of the second one? I mean, like, really? Maybe Ironhide. But, I don't know, just everything is wrong with those fucking movies, dude. And you have even said, even though you're not a huge Transformers fan, you get physically pissed off. Like, you cannot even sit there and watch it.
At the second one.
Yeah.
The second one wasn't just a bad movie, it insulted my intelligence as a viewer of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, we're the ghetto bots.
Oh, yeah.
Like, good lord. I was, like you said, I was physically angry watching that movie. And the only reason I didn't walk out is I'm the type, I have to watch the movie in its entirety to feel like I can just destroy it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, like I was saying, at the end of the second one, when they have the fight out in the middle of the desert, I could not tell, other than Optimus and Bumblebee, who the fuck was fighting who.
And that's because they had the slow-mo sequences.
Yeah.
And that was the only reason you could see what was happening.
It's bullshit. I think this, for the love of God, I hope it trends downward again.
Yeah.
Because if the box office trends downward a second time, I think that will be the end. Even if you wanted to come back, I think they'll get rid of them.
After 5 movies, surely people are starting to get burned out. So
I think they've been burned out since the second one. Like, that second one, like,
I don't know. People like you and me, yes. But a lot of them were coming out when I was still in college. And I had a lot of classmates and stuff that were 10, 15 years older than me. And they fucking loved every second of them. Like, they found nothing wrong with those movies. And people like that are going to a popcorn flick and just watching giant robots, which to me, you're not even watching the giant robots. You're watching humans more than anything.
the Transformers are total supporting characters.
Yeah. And they're the title characters.
Which it'd be a little bit more forgivable if they actually had interesting human characters.
And you know what's a sad thing? Even as big a Transformers fan as I am, the first one, not that bad. A lot of room for improvement, but not all that bad.
If they had all been like that one, I would have been fine with it. But they went from being dumb fun to just pure fucking stupidity, involving action that I couldn't distinguish what was going on. The first one even...
The other ones were so bad, I hate the first one by association.
Yeah, that's another good point. Like, the first one, too, the action still had a lot of that going on where you couldn't tell what was going on, but it wasn't as bad. Like, I think you can kind of tell, like, he already didn't give a fuck, and then after that first one, they were just money makers for him where he could blow shit up, and then he didn't care.
The thing that I really hate about the first one, more than anything, though, is they reuse scenes over and over. And there's one scene that just really aggravates the fuck out of me. With I know Ironhide's in the foreground. I think Ratchet's in the background. And they bend down to talk to Shia LaBeouf. And then after they have the little talk sequence, they run that same scene in reverse to get them to stand back up. Shit like that just really pissed me off.
I was never even paying close enough attention. I have no idea what scene you're talking about, but I'm kind of curious to watch it now.
Yeah, no, they do that throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, this is a bummer. Let's just pray this one is still trending downward in the box office. That's our only hope. But yeah, we're going to talk about a guy who actually can direct action next.
Yes.
And this is literally the polar opposite of the previous story, which is really depressing. George Miller is... I mean, you cannot have a more like beloved director at the moment.
Oh,
like
God.
Everyone, like, have you heard a single person say a negative thing about Mad Max Fury Road?
No.
I've never heard a single person, even on the internet, which is just mind-boggling.
And Chris, she'll be like, I mean, it's all right, or it's not that good, or whatever. But for her, that's a raving review. Like, it was amazing. So,
and
I've heard much worse from her on movies.
And it's a straight up, just for 2 hours, just a car chase. Like it's not meant for your wife. It's meant for action junkies, and it totally delivers on that.
Yeah.
And George Miller has forgotten more about directing action than Michael Bay will ever know.
Doesn't look like to me by watching Fury Road he forgot anything.
Dude, Fury Road, it was obviously in both of our top fives. Like we were obsessed with it, and this is the shame of this story is because George Miller has reported multiple times over the past year that he's doing at least one more one more Mad Max with Tom Hardy movie.
And then just recently, maybe within the past week, he was tossing around the idea of a Furiosa movie.
That and
exploring how she got to where she was in Fury Road.
And then at some point he said Hardy signed on for at least 2 more, and they want to do like 2 or 3 more. And then now we get the news where he's like, no, I'm kind of done. Like he looked back on the filming process, which I can't blame the guy. I can those action scenes would have been a pain in the ass to shoot in LA on a lot. They were there on location, and I forget which country it was, but they're
in Australia.
Yeah, they had to fly out to the middle of nowhere in Australia,
which is like 90% of Australia.
And then one thing we talked about earlier when we heard about the news earlier today when we were texting is those would be grueling conditions for you or me.
Yeah.
This dude's like in his early to mid 70s. Like I can totally understand why. But your point was he shouldn't have been promising so much if he had any inkling of not wanting to do it anymore.
I wish he hadn't been so bipolar about it because he kept getting. Every time he opened his mouth, I got hyped more and more, and then nah.
Which to be fair, yeah. To be fair, like you said, he's bipolar. Tomorrow we could get a news story. It's like, I was just fucking with you. I feel like doing more now. I mean, how many years was it in between Fury?
George Miller's not taking his meds. Someone help!
A stuntman's gonna die. like how many years was it between Fury Road and Beyond Thunderdome? Like, oh god.
Now, he just gets an itch to make a Mad Max movie every once in a while.
Because. I think
every 20 years or so.
I think Thunderdome was late 80s, so it would have been 25, 27 years, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It's and then just to be able to come back, and then I like the originals, and I really like Road Warrior. But
if you take a 27-year break, let's say, from a movie franchise and pick it up, and it's fucking Fury Road, dude.
And it's the best one they've ever done and ever will do. It's just crazy. But yeah, he has said now, at least for the moment, bipolar George, good George, is stepping away. I'm pretty sure that they're probably still going to have at least Tom Hardy under contract, so you're thinking where you still get a Mad Max movie. The Fury Road was it did okay money-wise, but it was a bigger critical success than it was a commercial success.
Right.
So this isn't the type of thing where we're going to be bombarded with, tons and tons of cash grab Mad Max movies, but do you think we'll see another one by someone else if he for sure steps away?
Yeah.
I was actually looking up.
I think the studio's not going to want to let it go.
I was looking up people who could potentially succeed him, and it's such a specific type of movie, and not to mention
I believe the genre is balls to the wall.
Just the level of practical.
I'm pretty sure when you and I reviewed that movie, we probably said balls to the wall 20, 30 times,
and it was warranted every time we said it.
Yes,
it's just the level of practical effects. It's such an old school level of filmmaking that I couldn't even find a potential name to kind of fill in for him, and I mean we're more than likely going to get one, but if the last Mad Max movie I ever see is Fury Road, I can be okay with that because it was such a good fucking movie.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. I wasn't being a total dick about it. No, George, no, but it was just.
He shouldn't have been selling it as much as he did.
Ever since that movie came out, he's just been talking about doing more Mad Max, then Furiosa. It's yes, and then what? Just out of the blue.
Who knows? He could change his mind by tomorrow. We won't know.
Yeah. So, but like you said, if Fury Road's the last one, I'm fine with that. And that means my box set that I bought is relevant.
Yes. I'd never to buy another Amazon box set. All right, we're going to move over to one of the other pretty topical directors at the moment, and Ryan Coogler has been a name popping up in a lot of not even just superhero movie related stuff, but just in general. This is a director he started off both Michael B. Jordan movies, but his first one was a little indie movie called Fruitvale Station, which I've really been wanting to watch for a long time because when it came out 2 or 3 years ago, there was a lot of buzz behind him as being a first-time director, being able to do with that film. I think it was a true story. I forget the specifics on the plot line of it, but like it drew a lot of attention around Oscar season, so his name kind of started popping up. Well, this kind of shows you like the level of quality that his directing style brought to at least that indie movie he did in Fruitvale Station, because his second movie was a Rocky movie.
Really?
Creed was his second movie.
Wow.
And then you cut ahead to what he just got officially signed on for his third film in Black Panther. Like the trajectory of going from your indie movie to a Rocky movie to full-blown Marvel movie, and you're not even just doing like a sequel to like Iron Man or something. Yeah. You're starting something
That's
in Black
pretty
Panther.
insane.
That's nuts. So like I could not be more excited to go back and watch his two films because I've been wanting to watch Creed specifically because everyone, similar to Mad Max, I haven't heard a single bad thing about Creed from anyone.
Now here's my question for you. Do you think they specifically chose him because of Creed? Is it going to be about that same kind of tone and everything?
I honestly could. I mean, I could probably form a better.
Is Marvel making their first boxing movie, Jeff?
I could probably have a better opinion because I want to watch both his indie movie and Creed,
right?
Because the indie movie is probably going to show more about his voice, obviously,
right?
And then Rocky. The Creed movie shows his ability to step into a franchise. So he's kind of having to do a little bit of both now because he has obviously a franchise to start with Black Panther and a pretty like they've been.
But he's also got a brand to carry, which is Marvel Studios.
He has a brand to carry, and he also has a character to establish. So I'm really really excited to go back and watch his films though because like people have been talking about especially Creed just like nonstop, and I mean they haven't proved us. I mean like. Usually, they're picking a director out of nowhere goes pretty well too. Because if you look back, James Gunn had done some like kind of sci-fi horror, like with Slither. He had some like kind of like B-movie comedy type stuff going on, but it ended up being a perfect choice. The two dudes who did Winter Soldier is one of their better movies. Those two dudes created Community, a comedy sitcom.
Yeah,
like they've been really good about picking dudes from not out of nowhere that work perfectly. So I mean they have not proven me wrong or let me down yet. So I mean, what's been their biggest letdown to date? Avengers 2, and Avengers 2 was still a decent movie.
It was still a strong.
If that's your low bar, they're killing it. Like that just shows their overall quality.
Yeah, as I mean, Avengers 2 is really by itself. It's a decently strong movie. Compared to the rest of the MCU quality, it's probably their worst movie. And their worst movie being decent to decently strong, yeah, I mean, at this point, they really can't do much wrong.
Yeah. I'm really excited.
And you know what? If they fuck up Black Panther, how much attachment do you have to Black Panther?
I have no attachment to Black Panther.
Exactly.
His costume looks fucking cool.
Yeah, he did.
They've been selling it, so this isn't a... Like... The biggest throwaway movie would have been Guardians.
Yeah.
Because Guardians was a total, And
I'm surprised you didn't throw it away after the Howard the Duck scene.
I still adore that movie, but fuck that ending.
I keep bringing that up just because I was sitting next to you the first time you saw that. And
did we both watch that the first time together?
Yep. And you were legitimately pissed.
Because
you were...
An Avengers 2 trailer before we
You didn't speak after that scene, dude.
Before we knew Avengers Age of Ultron ended up being mediocre, a trailer for it existed in the world at freaking Comic-Con like 4 months earlier, and we get Howard the Duck and the big middle finger in the middle of the screen. I still love you, James Gunn, but fuck you at the same time. I think Black Panther is either 2017 or 18. I get their calendar is just batshit, but yeah, looking forward to it. I still need to get caught up on his films, especially Creed, because people will not shut up about it. So I'm very, very curious. And looks like we got one more bit of movie news to get to. We're going to transition over to DC now instead of Marvel. Bruce Timm, one of the overlords of our childhood.
Oh god,
you can't really say it any other way. If you're unfamiliar,
he's the Krellin of our childhood.
He is the creator. Up until
it ended.
Yeah.
I can't help myself.
Bruce Timm created Batman the Animated Series, which basically my entire childhood, for the most part. Like
mine too.
The first thing I ever have memories being a fan of was watching the animated series for Batman and then playing the Impossible SNES game. Those are like my earliest
I'm a little
memories.
older than you, so that's not my first, but it's second, maybe third. But yeah, no, it was that if you are young enough that you have not seen Batman the Animated Series, go fucking watch it.
Doesn't matter if you're 3 years old or 90.
Yeah,
it's just good quality. Like it's timeless. It's timeless, and
it was in between kid and adult. It was really kind of before its time. There was no other cartoon like it at the time.
It was groundbreaking for Batman specifically too, because a lot of what we've come to take in as canon now is from that cartoon,
right?
Specifically with Paul Dini stuff, because he created the Mr. Freeze backstory with Nora and the whole thing with his
Heart
wife.
of Ice.
And Harley Quinn is courtesy of the cartoons. That's another
contribution from Paul Dini. And the other thing that was groundbreaking about that cartoon was no one ever took that shit that seriously back then.
Well, they were doing the Burton movies, which weren't obviously Adam West goofy, but it wasn't taking the character origins as seriously.
Right. And Batman the Animated Series, it took itself, pretty seriously. They had a lot of comic references. They had a lot of original stuff. Character designs were all amazing. And
a lot of that was Bruce Timm. He's actually
he
was the architect behind a lot of their design.
But I mean, it was just everything you had superhero related in a cartoon back then was like Super Friends level, So it really changed superhero cartoons and everything forever.
Changed animation.
So yeah,
because after that, the hardest and just the most amazing thing that you can accomplish in specifically animation and what they did is, like I was saying, you can watch that if you're 3 years old, and you can watch it if you're 90, and you can still enjoy it. And that is so difficult to do. And what's such a goddamn shame about cartoons today is because they've come full circle back to the 80s now. They're all loud, flashy toy commercials again.
Yeah.
And they completely lost sight of the golden age of cartoons of the 90s.
One of my favorite stories that's ever come out of Batman Animated Series was when everything was transitioning to kids want to watch kids, and they wanted a younger Batman so that kids could relate more to Batman. What did they do? Did they make Bruce Wayne young? No. They made him fucking senior citizen, and we got like probably 17-year-old kid as Batman,
which on paper sounds like the worst garbage you will ever watch.
And it is basically the first season of that is basically the next season of Batman Animated Series. The continuity and everything was just fantastic.
Genius. But yeah,
and they pulled that shit off, dude.
Which, it was Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, Alan Burnett, and I don't know if Dwayne McDuffie was associated with him until Justice League, but I'm going to throw his name in there anyway just because of all the Justice League contributions on that cartoon. But it was just all...
And then what's the voice director lady?
Andrea Romano.
That's what I was thinking.
So that was like a 10-minute Batman the Animated Series review to get back to this story.
All just to tell you this. Please go ahead.
So Bruce Timm has been pushing basically for 20 years... The Killing Joke as an animated movie, and they've all been on board from this from the get-go, which is why it's surprising it's taken as long as it has, because Kevin Conroy wants it to be done, especially Mark Hamill wants it to be done.
Mark Hamill, when he originally retired the Joker voice, said he would bring it back for that. He actually brought it back one more time since then, but and technically he's brought it back twice on The Flash, but he, spoilers for Flash, I guess?
Nah, fuck it. Everyone's watching The Flash.
But he said that if they ever did Killing Joke, that he would come back to do that. He's been wanting to do Killing Joke.
One of their hurdles was it's such a dark story that they wanted to be able to make it R. They've been announced that they've been given permission to make it R. And they announced it at Comic-Con, but we still haven't gotten like an official release saying it's rated R. I think it's probably like 90% rated R.
Like you said before when we were just talking about it off mic, why would you even announce that unless you had plans to make it R?
What I think they're probably doing at the moment is they're making the movie, not going out of their way to make it R, but making it and then see what happens. Like, make it how they want it exactly, and then let the rating company figure out what it is. Not like Jessica Jones, I thought went out of their way
to make it
R, which suffered some of the quality in it to me. If they just make the best Killing Joke adaptation they can make and let the rating company decide, you're golden either way.
Yeah,
because it's gonna be a good movie. The news story out of it though isn't necessarily related to the rated R thing, but they've announced they will extend the story, which doesn't really surprise me because your standard comic book is about 20 to 21 pages long. Killing Joke is 48 pages.
That's still not a lot of source material for a movie.
In a comic, you can burn through really, really quickly, and you're changing this, what's essentially 2 comics into, I think they usually run like 80, 85-minute movies, sometimes a little longer if it's something like Dark Knight Returns that they can turn into 2. They're extending the story. I don't have an issue with this, mostly because they've done such a good job with the other stuff. Like a lot of not necessarily adding storylines, but changing them.
Well, with Bruce Timm involved, I mean, there's not much need to worry.
And the director of it did Flashpoint Paradox and Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2. So he's been on the ball, like doing a damn good job.
Yeah.
A lot of their changes they did to Dark Knight Returns, if you're not familiar with it, they actually had first-person inner monologue the entire time. And what the writer did was they revamped it into parts of it became dialogue and parts of it got axed, but they still got the whole gist of the comic into the cartoon. Mm-hmm. So I have faith in these guys to make this good. I mean, the gist of the Killing Joke is so good that it's kind of hard to fuck it up, especially if they have Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy coming back. So I'm like this. A lot of people might look at this as a negative. I have faith in them at the moment. They haven't proven me wrong with how. I mean, their recent run on like with Flashpoint Paradox, Dark Knight Returns, like they've been doing some good stuff there.
Yeah. So no, I'm pretty excited about it. I don't read any of the comics really, but this is one that I've always wanted to read. And I'm more inclined to check it out as a movie first before I check it out as a comic, because that's just I've always been more into movies and TV type stuff over reading. But yeah, I can't wait for this, dude. Especially with Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill back together.
Gordon plays a heavy part in the story, so I think it'd be really cool. I don't know if the actor is still alive, but if they could get the animated series Gordon back, because like when I read the comics and stuff, like. He's the voice I hear because that was like your first Commissioner Gordon, really. I think it'd be so cool if he was still with us to be able to go back and have like that core back again one more time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they've done a good job about casting, too. I mean, it's always usually Andre Romano.
Banks did a good job in Arkham
I liked him, too. If they had him do it, that would also be really cool. That is a wrap-up to our movie news. Now we're going to transition. And speaking of The Flash, that is first up in the TV section. One of our favorite... I don't know if you could say he's one of our favorite directors, but basically one of our favorite celebrity personalities is Kevin Smith. And we just lost half of our audience because for whatever reason, the world hates Kevin Smith.
I don't know why.
He, in the last few months, got caught up on The Flash and has been obsessed with it publicly to the point where he had Andrew Kreisberg, who is one of the Arrow and Flash and Legends of Tomorrow creators, on to his podcast for... like a 2 or 3 part series. They apparently became pretty good friends because now in May we will be getting a Kevin Smith directed episode of The Flash, which, I mean, I'm kind of disappointed he's not writing it because I kind of want to see Cisco and Harry smoking cigarettes outside the front of Star Labs. But I think he'll do a good job. He's going to be petrified of fucking it up.
Yeah, he is.
So that could be a good or bad thing, but we'll see. It's hard. With their scripts, it's hard to fuck up The Flash.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's not like Kevin Smith...
Well, one writer managed to do it, but other than that...
Yeah. Like, 1 or 2 episodes out of the 30 or 40 they've done have been, like, kind of okay, like, kind of bad, but, like, that's a really good percentage on fucking up or not. So, I think it'd be fine. I don't think it's going to be, like, mind blowing because it's not like George Miller is directing The Flash. You know what I mean?
Dude, could you imagine?
I want to see George Miller. You know what really is kind of devastating about, really quickly and aside back to George Miller? I am so much more interested in that George Miller Justice League movie now.
I know.
That we'll never get, that we almost got. Because that movie would have probably been really dumb, but shit would have blown up real good.
Yeah, it would have.
Yeah.
I still just love Kevin Smith and Ralph Garman going on about how it might have been Mark Bernardin. I think it was Mark Bernardin on Fat Man on Batman with Kevin Smith, talking about that same thing. And they said, George Miller, he hates CGI. He uses all practical effects. So how do you do Justice League with practical effects? And was it, who was it they had as Superman? They talked about casting as Superman.
I remember Armie Hammer was Batman, but I don't remember Superman.
I don't know who Superman was either, but they're just like, they just said they could see George Miller like yelling his name, like, fly, learn to fucking fly. Now shoot lasers out of your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would just like, I would like to step into an alternate reality just to watch that film, and then
Earth 2.
Yeah.
You'd like to visit Earth 2 and watch the George Miller Justice League movie.
Just with
how many people do you think tied to poles would be swinging back and forth while driving 80 miles?
I want to see Darkseid playing guitar, like on strings. I would watch that. I think Kevin Smith's episode is gonna be fine. They're not gonna give him like the season finale or anything like that.
No, but you don't get Kevin Smith unless you do something spectacular either. So I wonder what they're going to do.
But Kevin Smith, I think it's going to be one of their kind of one-off character episodes, because Kevin Smith's, like, his thing is, like I was saying, he's not a George Miller. He's like a dialogue dude.
Yeah.
So I would imagine they're probably going to give him one of the more character-driven ones. I don't know. Well, I mean, what was your kind of reaction to this?
My reaction, I mean, it was positive, which is shocking, I know, but I was just trying to think, like you said, they're not going to give him something like a mid-season finale or something. It's not even probably going to be part of the main story arc. But like I said, at the same time, I don't feel like you get someone who has already had a career in film and directing and
give him bullshit.
Just give him bullshit to do. So I think it's going to be something pretty awesome, whatever it is. So they're going to pick some villain for him to do that's going to be a one-off that is a semi-major villain, probably, that they don't plan to use or something, that they have the rights to.
Yeah, I
think it's going to be
really interesting. It comes out sometime in May. They haven't listed an air date.
One thing that I'm really interested in also, though, is he refuses typically to direct anything like this. So, and his fans wanted him to try to put his name in the hat for some of the Marvel movies or some of the DC movies coming up, and he refuses to do it. And then he's always just said no, he's just going to mess it up or whatever, or he would prefer to watch them rather than be involved. He didn't want to do it. And then now he's directing Flash. So
I think there's a lot less pressure directing an episode of the TV show than like a movie. Because
I'm just
no. I'm agreeing with you. Like I think it's a good sign that he actually agreed to do it, because if he didn't feel like he could do it, he wouldn't have done it.
Right. So now, does that mean he's going to be like directing Ben Affleck as Batman? Probably not. But eventually he may work his way into some of the other stuff that they're doing on TV or maybe Netflix or something. I would like to see someone that has the passion and love for comic books that he has. I would like to see him do more of these type things.
Yeah. God knows they could have used him for
He puts his heart and soul into it when he loves it. And he loves anything in comics, almost anything. And the Flash is a major comic character, an A-list comic character.
And especially like after he put his reaction video of him crying, like he's obviously invested in that show specifically. So
yeah.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be like him directing probably a more character-centric one. Like maybe like, let's say they have like an episode where they go to Earth 2. And it's all just about like character-driven stuff between like it's Flash, like Harry and his daughter, or something like that. Like a more character-driven one. That's like what I'm kind of thinking. Not a bad episode or giving him bullshit, but they're not going to be giving him like a Zoom fight to do something.
Right.
Like, yeah.
If they had said 2 episodes though, I would have thought maybe the crossover, but
he definitely knows his DC though, because he's actually written comics for them, so he knows his stuff. Let's see, we have looks like one more bit of comic book related stuff to get to.
This one hurts, Jeff.
This one's a bit of a bummer.
I still have my doubts that it would be good, but I still wanted to watch
just
it.
to see it either way. TNT got the rights to the Teen Titans, and they had plans to adapt it into, what were they? They branded it Titans. Was that right? They're going to be like in their early 20s.
They branded it Titans, and they were going to be older. And the main story was going to focus on Dick Grayson, and he had already split from Batman. It was going to be his evolution into Nightwing. So we were finally going to get something with Nightwing in it.
Which, Nightwing's one of my top 5 characters of all time in comics, I'm just kind of just heartbroken.
And it was going to have all the Teen Titans that you expect to see. It was going to have Starfire. It was going to have Beast Boy. It was going to have Raven. It was going to have Cyborg. It was going to have all of them. And it sounded genuinely pretty cool. And then it just went cold. You just stopped hearing anything about it for about a year, and then they decided, no, it's just not what we want to do, not what we want to get into.
Even if it sucked, I would have watched every week a sucky Nightwing show just because it was a Nightwing show.
If their choreography for Nightwing was anything like what S.H.I.E.L.D. is doing for Barbara or for May, that would have been fantastic. If it was anything along those lines.
They also, I don't think, have announced specifically yet why they canceled it, but the suggested things going around and a lot of rumors were like, we might even reported on it, like, weren't they talking about a Teen Titans full feature?
What they had talked about doing was they decided that maybe a standalone Cyborg movie wasn't the best way to go with it. So they were going to change Cyborg to the Teen Titans, but I think because of the way everything is marketed, they had also thought about making them adult rather than teen. And then now you would have the DC Cinematic Universe versus the television universe. And as far as DC is going to be concerned, here's what I actually think would have happened. I feel like maybe TNT executives and then people involved with the show maybe going back and forth, and then DC started changing their mind with what they want to do. And the movies are going to come before anything on television. So I think maybe DC might have had a hand in pulling the plug on it, too. The truth is, we don't actually know. All they have said is, it's just not the direction we want to go.
They probably don't know themselves either. But they probably are looking at it now. Okay, Batman vs. Superman, even if it sucks, is going to be a hit.
Yeah.
So DC, at the moment, even if that movie is bad, is still going to be basically better. They're going to be better off having the property in their back pocket and a way to make it a bigger thing than it would have ever been on TNT.
Yeah.
There was kind of like an ace in the hole type of thing, I think.
Now, I think this increases our chances of getting Batman and Nightwing on screen together. Because if they do decide they want to go ahead with that direction of the movie, like the standalone Batman film, which I believe is still being tentatively called The Batman, is supposed to focus on Death in the Family / Under the Red Hood storylines. And Dick Grayson's already Nightwing at that point. Nothing has been said that he's going to be in the movie or anything like that, and I'm not suggesting that, but that doesn't mean we couldn't have cameo or something like that starting to bring him in. And if DC is going to start trying to mimic Marvel, then that means we could have a Nightwing character popping up in some of the other movies every once in a while.
I actually could kind of see as Nightwing, Logan Lerman. I actually wouldn't think would be a bad choice.
Before Fury, I might have disagreed with you.
I just think that dude is just like at any moment going to get something big.
Yeah, I'm a lot more impressed with him than I thought I would have been after watching Percy Jackson, which nothing against those movies, but he just didn't jump out at me. But now I'm starting to think it was the people involved in the movie, like the writing and the
what's the guy going to do type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm beginning to think it's not necessarily his fault after Fury.
I'm hoping either what you were talking about happens and we get the cinematic version of Nightwing with Batfleck and like a Titans type live action movie, or if the CW finally got off their ass and decided to do something with that property.
And I would really like to see it on CW. Now, God damn it, that would mean we'd have almost every day of the fucking week.
Dude, for
But-
Teen Titans show with and like Nightwing on CW, like
imagine-
I have more faith. Like if I could pick, I would pick a CW show with them because I have more faith in them than I do the movie division.
Imagine the crossover. You'd have fucking Nightwing and Beast Boy with Arrow and the Flash and Arthur Darvill.
Well, let's be honest. If they just want to go ahead and like replace that Arrow time slot, get rid of that little thing, and throw in Teen Titans, I'd be okay with that.
I don't know. Arrow is still strong in the crossovers this year.
Yeah, they can still be.
Well, not this year, but last year.
They can still be in the crossover. We could get rid of that whole other show they're doing, and we could just have Teen Titans. Like, I just want to see Nightwing. Damn it.
Yeah.
Even if it's Dick Grayson Robin, I just want Dick Grayson to get his just rewards as
Dick
a good
Grayson
character.
is a great character, and Batman Forever and Batman and Robin have forever fucked over that character.
And Mr. Freeze, more than likely. That's another heartbreaking. Yeah. Fuck you, Joel Schumacher. That's the end of that discussion. So, speaking of Michael Bay type hacks who once upon a time could actually make a movie and now have just, I don't know what aliens like abducted them, but it's just been a goddamn disaster. M. Night Shyamalan ding dong.
Bless you.
Okay, first of all, did we talk about this as like a hypothetical at some point?
We did. We said this is something we would love to see coming back.
Tales from the Crypt is coming back via M. Night Shyamalan, and I really couldn't care less now.
Yeah, I know. I'm very disappointed.
He's another dude. Like, he still puts his name on the trailers. Like, what was the name of that? There's a horror movie came out last year. I think he was like an executive producer on or something, or maybe he wrote it but didn't direct it.
It's like from the guy that brought you Signs.
And he no, I don't even think he did that. I think he threw up from the mind of M. Night Shyamalan, something like that. Like, dude, come on now. We all saw The Happening. Or if we didn't see The Happening, we are aware of The Happening being like one of the worst films of all time.
Yeah.
We've seen... have you ever seen Lady in the Water?
Nope.
Lady in the Water was so dreadfully boring.
And it has Paul Giamatti,
and
too.
I love him,
that
too.
That was almost enough to sell me on it.
That's one of the few movies in my life I've watched about 25 minutes of. I've never gone back to finish even. I couldn't even bring myself to finish that film.
Really?
And After Earth, like, that ended up kind of...
That was him?
That was him
that the Will
directing
Smith
it.
one?
Yeah.
Will and Jaden?
And then, like, The Last Airbender makes me want to just rip my eyes out.
I don't mind that movie. I actually kind of like that movie.
And you're fucking crazy. You are the one person.
Chris liked it.
You are the two people besides M. Night who actually liked that film. So yeah, zero interest in Tales from the Crypt now. Kind of a bummer because I always kind of like the idea.
Yeah.
I've watched some, but it's been so long I don't really remember it.
I was hoping it would not only come back, but it would come back on like Netflix.
Something where they could actually. This is also TNT.
I mean, I granted that right now I've been wanting everything on Netflix lately because they're just knocking it out of the park.
And I like you don't have to watch commercials. They don't have to worry about writing around commercials.
They don't even technically write a pilot, dude.
They don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry about a pilot. They don't have to worry about structuring cliffhangers. Like, this is an organic 13-hour-long movie, and it always makes it better.
I really hope the Crypt Keeper isn't CGI. You're a lot bigger in practical effects than I am. I like a blend of the two, and in some instances, maybe more CGI than anything. But I still love practical effects. But the Crypt Keeper, you have to go practical effects.
If they don't, fuck them. Oh, do you know is the voice of the Crypt Keeper still alive?
Like, I don't know.
Is that we need to look that up after the episode? Because I'm curious if he'll be back for it. Because that'd be cool if they could actually bring that dude back. Well,
watch. He's like, nope, not with Shyamalan Ding Dong.
The thing has been said where he might only be directing like the pilot.
Okay.
So what I'll do is if he is just an executive producer, I'll just skip the pilot and then just. Because if he's the executive producer, that's basically the title of I'm paying money, but I'm not associated with it, usually.
I'm still going to watch it. I have to. I grew up with it.
I'll probably wait for your thinking on it after I decide to give it a chance. Mm-hmm. If I decide to give it a chance, I mean. So, yeah.
I always love Tales from the Crypt.
It's also, it being on TNT is kind of a bummer because I would have, if it wasn't going to be like a Netflix type thing, like it was originally HBO. Like, you like to see them have more free reign. Because one of the things that makes Tales from the Crypt cool is if like, some of their most famous stuff was when it was really, really fucked up. Which on TNT, you can do more than you used to on those.
That's what I was about to say.
You can do more than you used to,
but it's a little bit.
But it's still not going to be like they can't go as far out.
To be fair, you can do a little bit more than you used to be able to do on channels like TNT and USA and everything now. But also, people have taken writing TV more seriously. They have gotten more creative ways of writing their episodes now. You know what I mean? So before, it being super fucked up and super shocking or whatever would have worked on its own, but now this is the golden age of TV, and they're actually sitting down and thinking about what they're doing. And I think that there's other ways I can go about it also to get around and skirt the fact they're not an HBO and it still be good.
Picking Shyamalan to attach to it is not a good sign.
Not a good start. Oh, I see what you did there. Well done.
I didn't even mean to do that. Yeah, it's coming to TNT. I don't even know when that is predicted to come out, but it's
unfortunately, Jeff, it's happening.
God damn it. Something I wish wasn't happening is what we're going to talk about next, and that is the Doctor Who spinoff of those little bastard kids in Claire's classroom.
God
Ron,
damn it!
How many times do we ever talk about infinite spinoff possibilities in Doctor Who? Better spinoff possibilities.
That's the strongest thing about that show.
Is you can do anything.
Yeah, it is unlimited.
And I never got around to watching it, and you said it wasn't as good as Doctor Who, but Torchwood was a very cool idea.
Oh, yeah.
It was an awesome concept. You and me, in 5 seconds, could come up with a better Doctor Who concept for a spinoff than this.
Yeah.
And what this is it's called Class. It was, it's coming to BBC America. That was what brought it into the news this week, because they've been talking about it for a bit, but originally...
And I don't understand why.
They've been talking about it for a while. It was at least going to be being shown on, I think it was BBC 4, which is kind of like their bullshit channel, throw the stuff we want on, but not in prime time.
Yeah.
But now it's coming to BBC America. Yeah. That's a big time slot because that's their only channel, obviously, they have with us.
Yes.
So what the fucking fuck? How did this go from even leaving someone's mouth as an idea to the drawing board to greenlit?
I have no earthly clue. This makes no sense to me. I mean, sure, you probably don't want to repeat, something like Torchwood. Unit would probably be too similar to Torchwood, even though I would like the idea of basically a do-over of Torchwood with Unit instead, especially since you've had a lot more experience with Unit lately than you have anything else.
I would have been totally on board with that.
The chick that's the Brigadier's daughter or whatever that's in charge of Unit, have her as one of the main leads in it. I would have been fine with that.
And they could have had Oswin too.
Yeah, but
this is such... Okay. This is a very specific point I wanted to bring up to you and talk about on this. I don't know if you read the article. The whole concept of this was to bring in a Doctor Who type thing that they could gear towards a younger audience. Doctor Who works like one of those things for anyone.
It's considered more or less a kids show.
It can work. It's not as accessible to 3-year-olds as Batman the Animated Series. But if you were 5 or 6, you could watch Doctor Who and still kind of like it. Because at the bare minimum...
How many kids at Halloween are dressed as the 10th and 11th Doctors?
Yeah. And you don't...
And running around with fezzes and sonic screwdrivers.
To the extent that... I don't know if they're considering the person... I forget if it was a guy or a girl, the showrunner. But whoever is the main person kind of... writing it, I don't know if they were just writing the episodes or they were the specific showrunner, was a young adult novelist. They're going to that extent of it. Dude, Doctor Who is just fine on its own. Like you said, the Unit would have been cooler. Fucking name any companion would have been cooler.
Yeah.
This is just utter dog shit.
What about a noir show that was Amy and Rory?
Yeah, that was one of the ones we talked about before. When this first, I think, came out during the summertime.
And the last episode is her writing the book that the Doctor had in that episode.
Who did they just have on the Christmas special?
Seriously.
River.
Yeah.
Do something with her. Anything. Fucking anything.
I mean, she has a vortex manipulator. She still travels in time and stuff. It's a nasty way of time travel, but she has a vortex manipulator.
Do something
You can do anything with her. And you could be edgier with her.
Why don't you go back? Okay, they've never really said how old the universe is as far as the Time Lords are concerned. What about 2,000 years before the Doctor becomes a thing? They do a Game of Thrones thing on Gallifrey, where there's like different like family groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Literally, it takes you 30 seconds to come up with a better idea than this, and this is greenlit coming on BBC America. What the fucking fuck, guys?
What about, dude, what about just a show that takes place in the Time War?
Yeah, like anything.
Something. Or, I don't know. Like I said, you can just sit here and toss ideas out.
You could do...
Wasn't there a cyber war? Didn't the Cybermen have something?
Something. What would be another interesting idea is you do a Breaking Bad type thing with Davros, and you track how he ended up,
Seriously.
Anything. Literally, we've had this conversation for 5 minutes, have come up with 15 better ideas. So this is dog shit. I will not.
And you know what? Some of them that we came up with terrible and still better than Class.
No kidding. But seriously, what the fuck? That's all I have to say about this.
I'm willing to bet it doesn't go past season 1.
If this had been a web series where these were all like 15 minutes, fucking fine with that because I don't care. This has 8 full-length episodes, I think in like their standard, hour with commercials.
What the fuck are you going to do?
And
you don't have Clara around. Spoilers. You don't have the Doctor. There's no time travel. What are you going to do? You don't have. You don't have Danny Pink.
It's ridiculous.
It's basically going to be what the happening episode with the trees taking over the planet. Without the Doctor, without the TARDIS,
without the watchful
Clara.
Parts.
Yeah,
exactly.
And without Danny.
Dog shit.
Yeah,
dog shit. I'm before I freaking pop a blood vessel. We need to move on. We've got one more little quick article to run through. Found this kind of interesting, not specifically for me, but cool. They didn't have to do this. This is just kind of a cool thing. Amazon Prime will be giving you 20% discounts off pre-orders and newly released titles. And they are running the newly released titles thing up to 2 weeks.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. Obviously, since you're in Prime, too, you're getting free 2-day shipping. They also have a program, I don't know if you're aware of this, where you can actually, if you have a game pre-ordered, they will have it mailed out to where you have your pre-ordered game on release day, so you don't have to wait a couple days. That's
really?
Pretty cool, too. So they have kind of gone all out on the gaming aspect of this. I don't buy enough games to where I will do this.
Yeah.
But for people who run like Let's Play sites and stuff, we'll save a lot of money doing this. I think it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess that's how they're going to compete with the brick and mortar people walking in at midnight to pick up the game, or 2 a.m. is when it's technically supposed to be here. Walmart doesn't abide by that, by the way. That's what I love about them.
Walmart gives no fucks.
Yep.
So,
I got Diablo 3 at midnight. People in California didn't have it yet.
Well, did Diablo 3 work opening day?
It
kinda.
Did. It was spotty, but and people said "fuck you" Activision Blizzard for that. But I've said it before on this podcast, and I'll say it again. They were not EA. Like EA when SimCity released, not playable for days. I bought it, so my wife would have it on release day, and it took her several days before she could log in and play it. And EA was just kind of like, oops, oh well. Blizzard was grabbing every computer in the fucking office and turning it into a server.
Yeah, I remember us talking about that.
Because World of Warcraft servers started blinking off because they're turning them into Diablo servers. Their website just had a sticky note that said, catch us on Twitter for server updates because this computer has been allocated for Diablo. Like, they took their website down to try to run Diablo. And I think it was about 2-3 a.m. anyway before I got on, but I got on and was playing it for a little bit opening day.
Yeah, that's much better.
So, yeah, but it was a snafu, but you know what? They made an effort after they realized that they fucked up. They made an effort, so I don't hold that.
And they're
against them.
genuinely more likable than EA has ever been or will ever be, because the EA is run by notorious assholes.
Dude, I adore Blizzard. Their in-game jokes and stuff, it's just fantastic. They have Green Lantern's ring in Diablo 3. I mean, what the fuck? Come on.
Thor's hammer too, don't they?
They have Thor's hammer. They brought the cow level back from Diablo 2, where you're fighting giant murder cows. I guess they're not giant; they're standing up. Murder cows with giant axes. Yeah.
One quick thing before we move off this article, though.
We've been off this article for a few minutes now.
That's true. They also said you'll be getting 20% off certain collector's editions. So that's a smart way to get those, because if those collector's editions run upwards of $200, 20% for that versus your $60 standard game is a big deal.
Yeah, that's
like if I was anyone ever out there going to get collector's edition, look on here, because that would be a great deal on those.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna be a wrap to our show for this week. I think we ended up ranting for about 55 minutes of this hour and 4 minute podcast.
Yeah, I thought you mentioned something about lightning round.
For all the ranting we did, the sets are pretty good. Usually our rants last for like 2 hours. But yeah, thanks guys if you have managed to stick with us this long. If you'd like to check us out more, make sure and like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, where you can see all of our content, all of the Let's Plays, all of our commentaries, which we need to do more of.
Yes.
Let's see, we are on the social medias. We are on Twitter at TWBE Podcast, Facebook.com/TWBE Podcast. And I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
This has been a good vent session, I think.
Yes.
Good.
I feel a
little cathartic. So yeah, we will see you guys next time.
I want to play more Dark Souls.
I don't. I want to go to bed.